Hello and welcome to issue 43 of We Ain't Found Sith. I am a clone of Snoke in a vat of dead clones, and I am also your host. My name is Eben, and I am joined, as always, by Pedro,
Yeah.
Louis,
Why you gotta make your description sound so delicious?
and joining us today, special guest, Odie.
I am part of the dark side.
Oh man, and you're gonna notice there's a little bit of a difference in quality of sound today, and that is because our sound engineer, producer Fungus, uh, he had a paying job tonight, and therefore he couldn't be here. So we'll have to get his thoughts later on. But yeah, nobody running things on the ones and twos. Pedro is multitasking,
Yeah.
and we'll see how this turns out.
Yeah. I'll also provide the buttons real time.
Oh, there
Yoga fire.
you go. Also, since I never bought a cable for my mic, I always just use Gus's, and he's not here. If we're talking, then all of a sudden you hear our voices go away like that. It's because it's two people per one mic, so we're just kind of sharing the swinging mic arm
Yeah.
between the two of us,
Yeah.
between the four of us,
Yeah.
2 to 4.
Yeah. So, anyways, this is issue 43, and if you understood my intro, then you know that we're talking about Rise of Skywalker today.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, by the way.
And if you didn't understand my intro, then stop listening, go watch the movie, and then come back and listen to the episode. Unless you don't care about spoilers, in which case we're going to spoil the hell out of this movie.
Yeah. That's what we're doing.
Let's go right into it, fellas?
Okay. Overall, how did you feel about it? Before we start nitpicking, how did you guys
Okay.
feel about it?
And just so that everyone knows, none of us knows what the other one thinks.
Right.
I saw the movie yesterday in the evening. Pedro, you saw it late at night.
Yeah.
Louis and Odie, you guys just saw it.
Yeah, we haven't talked at all about it. We've been holding our comments between each other up until right now, which is something we've never done before on the podcast. Because usually we have an awesome conversation about what we're going to record, and then when we actually start recording, it's just not as good as our conversation when we were setting up the podcast.
Right, but today all reactions will be raw, uncensored, and unfiltered.
Yeah.
And
all sexy.
so who wants to start us off? Who's gonna go first?
Well, Pedro,
I asked you, so that
All
makes
right.
you.
So initial impressions. I've had approximately 24 hours for it to sink in, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like I had fun with it. Obviously, some obvious fan service. There's some stuff that I loved. Um, it's not a perfect movie. I'll be right up front with that. But man, I had a good time, and I really enjoyed myself. So overall, right now, I liked it. It might change, with rewatchings and stuff like that.
Oh, it definitely will.
But as of right now, I am thoroughly enjoying it.
all right, so let's go down the road. So I'm next. So then, yeah. So I just saw it with Odie a couple hours ago, and I really liked it. I had a lot of fun watching it. It like Eben said, it wasn't perfect, but it doesn't need to be. It felt like Star Wars to me, and I know that a lot of it was cookie cutter and it was done that way, but yeah, I'm fine with that. And man, I really liked it, and I walked out smiling. Oh, Odie, you go now.
I loved it. I liked the first one that came out recently.
Force
restarted-
Awakens,
That one. I like that one. The middle one, which I forget
Last
what it
Jedi was crap.
was crap. And this one I absolutely loved. I cried 3 times. I got emotional. And
So did I.
yeah, I literally tears were coming out of my eyes. I loved it.
So Pedro, what about you?
Well, this is gonna be fun because I'm gonna thoroughly explain why that movie was hot garbage. It was so fucking bad.
All right, that's why.
That movie was so fucking bad.
All right, this podcast just became interesting.
I would actually go as far to say The Last Jedi was better than this fucking hot garbage.
What?
This movie was so
What?
fucking bad.
Okay, let's let's just get into it. Let's get into it. Gloves are coming off. Let's go.
Yeah. So you guys liked it. What did you like about it?
No. Because there's a consensus here. Three of us liked the movie. You're the one that didn't like the movie. You tell us what you didn't like about
What
it.
I didn't, it's a lot better if I tell you what I did like.
No. Because
What I didn't,
we've
okay.
got time.
One, it completely, which is good, but it doesn't fit for a movie. It completely neglects the second one altogether. Like, it deletes everything that happened in part two. Deletes it. The fucking dialogue was terrible. There's a fucking scene
Okay,
where they're like, hold
wait.
on, you asked me, so
Right,
I'm gonna
but
go.
let's- but
So
let's-
I'm gonna go.
Well, let's go one. But let's go. He's not doing one thought. He's doing multiple thoughts.
Okay.
So let's go at these one at a time.
Okay.
So it completely negates the second movie.
Right.
A movie that the majority of fans hated and
Right.
didn't like,
But it's still a
and
trilogy.
and a movie that the majority of fans wanted to have negated.
Right. It's a trilogy. It's a trilogy.
I said when that movie ended, I was like, "Fuck! Why couldn't J.J. Abrams have just done all three movies?"
Boom.
Because
That's what I
that-
left the theater.
No,
That's
yeah.
exactly how I left the
No,
theater. I'm like, if this movie was 5 hours long, split up into two films, it wouldn't have been bad. The first fucking half of the movie is just a fucking X-Men episode. There's shit happening every other second. Screen wipes all over the fucking place. There's even a section where they're going through like light space through different planets, and they go through like 5 different planets in 1 second. Come on, that shit was just like, okay, we got a lot of things to do in 2 hours. How are we gonna do it? Just back to back, just all kinds of shit. It was just fucking rushed. It felt like a roller coaster. It did not feel like a story. It was just like, okay, this is what the scroll was even telling you all the cool shit, and then they're like, by the way, this is happening. Now you're gonna see what the outcome is. And then he was already going to Palpatine. There was no anticipation for Palpatine. There was nothing. It was just like, by the way, Palpatine's back, and what's that fucking idiot with the mask? Ray? No. Kylo Ren. And Kylo Ren's gotta beat him. Whoa! And then movie start. Go. That's what it was.
Movie was 2.5 hours long. We didn't have another 2 hours to spend on that story.
But I don't mean for it to be one movie 5 hours long. I meant the story to be a 5-hour movie and split it up into 2 films. And completely take out fucking Last Jedi and make the 2 movies what this was.
Okay. Look, you know, like when you flush the toilet? Right. That's what they were doing with the scroll credits. They were trying to erase everything that happened in the previous movie because it was garbage. And then they replaced it with something that's actually pretty exciting.
the last movie sucked. That's a given.
It was.
And this movie, what everyone wanted.
Okay, hold on.
I don't wanna say whatever.
Let me just be clear. The last movie sucked, except for the 15 minutes that was just pointless. The last movie sucked just because of its execution. The 15 minutes was just bad fucking storytelling. But the entire movie, even though the characters were wrong, everything that was happening was not correct in what everyone understands Star Wars to be, it was still a coherent movie. This last one, I don't know. No.
Like, okay, for example, 2 examples. One, the last movie said, "Ray, you're nothing," and then everyone's like, okay, so whatever. Why, And then the other one was like, "Oh, Snoke is the main bad guy. He's dead. Now what are we gonna do?"
Yeah.
So this movie was like, "Oh, they had to fix this shit because it was like, okay, hold on."
At the end of this back and forth, I will tell you what I would have done to fix this entire fucking dumpster fire of a movie
No, that's
or
fine.
fucking saga.
I'm sure people are gonna have much better ideas, but it is what it is with the time that they had to make the movie, and
But-
there's a lot of things.
But
that
see,
go
that's
into-
you guys asked what I didn't like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it was.
But so then they were saying, okay, so the Emperor Palpatine was behind everything this whole time. That fixes the Snoke thing.
No,
he was a clone.
it doesn't.
Well, he was a clone by Palpatine, so he was like using him like a puppet. So
It
was
doesn't
actually
fix
Palpatine.
anything.
It doesn't fix it.
They
but
could
at
have
least
they
it
could have
makes it, like-
they could have made Snoke the bad guy again and made him just make a bunch of clones of himself. And then look, they could have had part 2 where she realizes that she's a Palpatine through Snoke, who Snoke's fucking boss would be a
Okay, but
fucking
you can't go
mysterious
back.
character
Okay,
bringing
but
back
don't
Palpatine.
when you
If
say
you want Palpatine,
how you would have done it, don't go back to the second movie. Forget about the second movie
right?
because that's done. We can't change that. Let's just talk about this movie.
Okay,
What's
just
done is done in the second movie. We can't touch that.
okay. Make a new character. It doesn't have to be Palpatine. Make a whole new character. And
Yeah,
then make Rey in this movie. Rey should have actually been a Sith. She should have turned to a Sith and sacrificed herself at the end to save everybody else. That's what would have made the fucking movie. Dude, I didn't give a fuck about Rey. I didn't give a fuck about anybody because there's no chemistry. And then when she makes out with fucking Kylo,
yeah,
what the fuck was that?
when they were like looking at each other, I was like, "Oh, don't kiss. Don't. You're not gonna kiss, right?"
I
Yeah.
whispered to Louis, I was like, that kiss was unnecessary. I saw them as like brother and sister, and then they're kissing. It was disgusting.
Dude, zero chemistry. Zero.
Yeah, but that kiss was pure fan service for all the shippers.
That's what I was saying to Odie. We were complaining about. I was like,
That
I
doesn't
feel
make
like
it a good
that's-
movie, dude.
No, I know. I felt like that kiss was like fan services. There was a lot of fan service moments, and it was kind of like, we're sorry about the last movie. Here's some fan service stuff.
The whole movie was fucking fan service.
The whole movie was damage control. That's
Yeah.
all it was. It was just damage control. And it
But-
wasn't a good movie.
but
It
I
was
like-
just too much shit in too little time.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed the hell out of it
Well,
because fan service is like getting a blowjob.
Okay, okay. Guys, get ready. This never happens. I'm going to agree with Pedro on one thing. The beginning was rushed. Those scenes at the very beginning, I was getting kind of dizzy because I had no idea what was happening. They were cutting from one planet to the other. There was this chase. We didn't really know what was going on, why they were chasing each other. And that's it. That's all I,
I
agree with
agree.
Pedro on.
I agree with that, but I feel like it kind of had to happen because, again, like Evan said, this was a 2.5 hour movie. I mean, anything longer than that, people are gonna like,
they just cut
it's
that
annoying.
entire part out.
I know
What
that maybe.
did they really explain why he had to time jump or speed jump through skip or whatever the fuck that shit was called through all those planets? They didn't
Who, Ky-
even explain it. They just
Kylo
did it.
or
Poe.
because they established in the last movie that they can now be tracked through hyperspace.
Okay, but just why did it have to be that? The whole problem
because
with that
the
is that
whole
there was a
idea-
lot of shit happening in very little time.
But the whole idea is that if you can now be tracked through hyperspace, you now have to schedule multiple jumps in order to avoid being detected.
Right.
That's what it is. He keeps on doing. You notice that every time he does a jump, there's less and less TIE fighters behind him.
Yeah, because he's hitting debris. You can't do that on the same planet you're on. Come on, dude. He's a fucking master pilot, and he can't do that on the same. He destroyed a fucking battle cruiser by himself, and he can't do that to TIE fighters. Remember in the first one where he was saying mama jokes? Not the first one, the second movie where he was doing stupid mama jokes. He destroyed the
them by himself?
cannons.
Oh, the cannons.
Yeah,
And then they went in and blew it up.
yeah.
He destroyed the cannons that weren't firing on him.
No, they were firing on him. He was doing all the. Remember, he did like the Tokyo Drift e-brake shit, and he did the
Yeah, but
U-turn.
the whole thing in that sequence is that he caught them off guard. Here, he's being actively chased by
No,
TIE pilots.
you're just making excuses. That shit was pointless.
Look.
That was pointless bullshit, just eye candy, and there was just too much. Oh, okay. So now Poe's getting away from TIE fighters. Wait, but also Rey is training with Leia. Oh, by the way, Leia's a master Jedi. Don't worry about it. Don't ask questions, but she is. At the end, she has her own lightsaber, and she learned how to turn into a ghost. That's very convenient. So did Kylo. Kylo also learned how to turn it. Oh, that's just, they gave it out in the academy. You get into the academy, everyone learns to be a ghost. The entire fucking TV show, that shit was important because only select few went over there to venture into that shit and find out how to become that. And in this movie, it's just everybody. Everybody. You want to be a ghost? Everybody could be a ghost. It's fine. You want to be a ghost? Be a ghost.
But Han Solo was not a ghost. He was a memory, which is why he was more solid. But here's another point that I wanted to make is that yes, they made Leia into a Jedi when she wasn't a Jedi before. One thing that I brought up with Louis too is that when Kylo Ren and Rey are seeing each other in the Force, I guess, they're interacting in the Force, how could he grab a physical object off of her if they're not in the same place?
And now, I like that. That's one of the things I fucking love. they're showing you a new ability in the Force, and I thought that was fucking cool. It's almost like teleportation.
What did they call it? Dyad?
I don't know. It's like a
A
connect. It's
dyad
like
in the
it's like a
Force?
Force connection
Yeah, it's
between
like
two people.
two people, two Force users in the Force who have such a strong connection that like they basically can bend space and
Yeah.
time.
Was that in the show? Like, is that a thing?
No,
Oh,
that
they
was
just
new to the
that's new
movies,
to
and I
the
thought it
movie.
was dope as
Okay.
fuck.
I'm not like poo pooing it. I'm just not understanding because it's never come out before. So like I didn't understand how he could grab a physical necklace from her when it was just like a mental connection. But you say it's space and time, so that would make sense.
Well, I mean that's my understanding
Yeah,
of
they
it.
didn't really explain it, but they introduced it in this saga, in this trilogy. So like, I thought that was cool from the get that he could see her, but not her surroundings, and vice versa. She could see him, with not but not his surroundings. But I guess everything that's connected to holding to them, they could still have physical contact, and they could take whatever's in their hand. That's why when she knocked down the Vader helmet, or when she grabbed it, he found out where she was because of the Vader helmet. I think that was fucking cool. And that's like one of the few stuff in this movie I thought was cool.
Well, I was trying to think. Didn't they they hinted at it in the Last Jedi?
What?
When they're having their conversations at a certain point, doesn't like something get like wind up getting left behind or something
I
like that?
think it was the dice. Han Solo's dice. Oh no, no, that was
No,
also that
that
was
was Luke's
force
force
projection.
projection. Yeah, but I feel like there was and then
There was
I
something,
haven't
yeah.
watched the Last
Oh
Jedi
no,
in a
it was the
while.
rain.
That's
The
what it
rain.
was.
He was getting wet.
Yeah.
And he thought it was rain, but it was the splashes from the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that shit was cool. A lot of people, because I saw it in like a crowded theater, and everybody was hating on the plot because they said it was a like a fetched quest. It was just, but I kind of like that. That's kind of like Indiana Jones. I kind of like that shit.
Yeah, I like that it was a series of little adventures looking for different things. Because I feel like it's true to the spirit of Star Wars from previous movies.
My only gripe with it is that when you have these kind of fetch quests, or like these stories where it's like a bunch of characters interacting with one another for a long period of time, because that's all it is. There's not a lot of action in this movie. There's a lot of like people dealing with one another. The problem is there's no chemistry with anybody in that cast. Nobody like riffed off of each other. Like I didn't give like tell me what Finn's purpose was. He did nothing. He had such a cool idea where he was supposed to be a stormtrooper, and he fucking left and he rebelled. That's a new fucking thought. And where did they go with that?
Yeah, they really that character had so much promise that I mean I still like what they did with it. I like that they hint at the fact that like he has some sort of feeling for the Force. Yeah. But I don't know if like his feeling for the Force is like full on like he's a Force user.
It's kind of like the same as that blind guy from Rogue One.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's kind of like it almost feels like spiritual old lady at church who was like, I feel it in my heart that that's the way that we need to go. That's the way that it's got to be. You know?
Okay. So here's my idea about Finn and Ray. Ray is Elsa and Finn is Anna. He's there to support Ray and help her in her quest, and that's what Poe is there for too. They're there for each other.
Kind of felt like
And I think about the chemistry, Poe has chemistry with everybody. That man is like a sex pot.
I feel
I-
like Poe and Finn are kind of there to like together as a team. Two separate people replace the Han Solo element of the Star Wars story.
That's what I felt. And when that's why remember when we saw the Force Awakens, I was like, yo, this movie is like it's the same shit, but it's like a ramp onto something new
Right.
because they introduced the the pilot who's just a very good pilot. Like he's fucking snarky and whatever, a little badass. Then you have the rebellious stormtrooper who fucking just leaves and wants to fight against them. And then you have this no name force user as Ray. There's like so many fucking cool elements. And then what did they do in the last movie? Fuck it. Poe is just gonna be Han Solo. Finn is just gonna be another Han Solo, like you said, and Ray is just gonna be the ultimate power, dude. She couldn't be beat by nothing, even if you want. She beat Palpatine with just another lightsaber. No big deal. It was just two lightsabers.
It was
She.
Leia's lightsaber.
Oh yeah, I know, girl power. It was.
She got the power of all the Jedi's. And what gave her that extra confidence was the lightsaber. Okay, so back to Poe. He definitely replaces Han Solo in the spirit, in the ladies' man kind of thing, and in the pilot, of course. But I feel like Finn is sort of crucial to the plot because he's that emotional support that they all need to like tie each other together.
You felt emotion in that film. I felt zero. I did. I cared more. You know what actually made me emotional? The only thing that made me feel bad was how mean they were to C-3PO. That's it. Everything else, I didn't give a fuck about any. Like C-3PO was just like nobody asked, but I'm doing fine. I was like, God, guys, show a little love to him, bro.
Man, and the problem with Finn is like they had such a good idea there with this whole like child soldier thing that
Yeah,
they
man.
did, and then him finding these other former child soldiers and establishing a connection with them. The problem is that could have been like another hour of story just by itself.
How much you want to bet that's going to be a Disney Plus bullshit? How much you want to bet?
I thought that when they were telling that story about how like that small group of stormtroopers rebelled and put their guns down and all that stuff. I thought that later in the movie that was going to be part of taking Palpatine down. That like Ray was going to say some kind of speech or say something like all the stormtroopers would be there, and then like all the stormtroopers were just going to like rebel in the same way.
Yeah.
I thought something like that would have been
Yeah, you
cool.
thought cool shit was gonna happen in the movie. You know what's cool about the whole Palpatine thing was just when Lando shows up and you see all those ships from all of the sagas of Star Wars. Because pause that fucking scene and you could pick out. You're like, oh shit, that's from that fucking game. Oh shit, that's from fucking Clone Troopers. The one of the Jedi's had his own ship. Oh, that's the bounty hunter ship. That's the cool. That was cool as shit. And then how does he take out that whole fleet? Unlimited power into the sky, and everybody just falls. Come on, man.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, it's established. We've seen it in the other movies where we know a lightsaber can block force lightning. So yeah, okay, she pulls out a second lightsaber, and it just kind of helps her get, I guess, more steadied than the one lightsaber trying to block it. But I mean, it's established content. We know already that that can happen. What I was expecting when she did that was I was half expecting her to go Anakin on him and basically just scissor his head off.
That's what I said. I said she's gonna walk right up to Palpatine and just snip
And I don't
his
think
head
you've
right
seen,
off.
I don't think you've seen that scene. And do you remember that from the prequels?
No,
See,
I don't remember.
But wait. Before we continue, when I was watching the movie, that part where she's pushing the lightning back onto him, and he's like, "Yeah!" I just imagine like him freezing, and then looking at the audience and going, "Not again," and then he evaporates.
like a
Because
cock
that's what
puncher,
Vader did.
like cock knocker. Not again.
But literally at this point, I really didn't care because about 5 minutes prior to that, I got to see my boy Wedge, and about a few minutes after that, when they started bringing back all the voices of all the Jedi,
Oh yeah.
they brought back Ahsoka and they brought back Kanan.
Wait,
And I was
the
just like,
voice.
what?
Oh, when we are one.
We're with you. We're
We're
and
with
all of that.
Yeah. I don't know,
We
guys.
got OG Obi-Wan, we got young Obi-Wan, we got Yoda, we got Mace, we got Qui-Gon.
Yeah, we got Yoda a few times. I really enjoyed that. But back to the idea of Rey being a Sith, that she should have become one. I totally agree with that because I thought that's what was going to happen. And I thought Kylo was going to go to the light, the light side of the Force, and rescue her from being like this evil Sith.
Yeah, that
You want to know why you felt? You know why you thought that? Because it was foreshadowed in the very first movie where he feels sympathy after he kills his dad. He kills his dad, and you see in his face, I fucked up. And then when Ray in the first movie when she was fighting Kylo, the anger that she was showing while she was fighting, that's why she cut him in the face. She showed the, you know what I mean? That's foreshadowing, and they didn't do that for any of the other movies.
No, but because like I knew going in, I was like, even if he does turn, he's gonna die
Yeah,
because
look,
after they take out the guy was in charge of freaking Star Killer Base. They took out an entire star system. You don't just all of a sudden be like, oh hey, I'm good now, because everybody else is like, well you're good now, but you
no, but
still killed like a few billion people and you need to pay
you,
for that.
you know what he should for me. I think the whole movie was just fucking mishandled again. It was just too much trying to fix the last movie. It was stupid. But what they should have done is that last scene where the lightning, ultimate power on Rey, and she's blocking it with the fucking lightsaber. She established that she has the lightning too. You saw that. I wanted her to kill him with the lightning. Her turn into like get his spirit and become a Sith too, and her just seku herself, just kill herself, or have the whole fucking place just crumble down on her, or something, just something more like impactful. Because dude, the last death scene is, wait, I died. No, hold on, I'll save you. Wait, hold on, I saved you, and then the last person died. That's literally what happened.
But that's how it had to happen.
No, it didn't.
Because okay, let's say it's what you say, right? She kills Palpatine, his soul goes into her, and she kills herself. If he tries to save her and bring her back, Palpatine's still in there.
Right, but you don't bring her back. You let her die, and you
So
have
you're like kill both of them.
and then no, and then Kylo just fucking goes into exile because he knows he's going to be hunted because he was a piece of shit. Give the character some personality. There's no personality in any of this shit.
No, I like.
It's all like robots.
I like what they did with it, and I like how when he uses his last bit of like life force to bring her back, and he disappears into the force. Leia also disappears into the force, almost like she couldn't go until he did.
That's poetic. It was stupid, but it was poetic.
So, you guys know I have a soft spot for my boy Kylo, right? So when he turned good, I was like, yes, he's gonna save Rey, because I thought that whole thing about her turning evil, going to the dark side was gonna happen.
See, I think I like the whole Palpatine thing because I'm
I liked it too, but I think his name should have been Snoke. That's what I
okay.
think. I think
That's
the
fine.
plot.
But
I,
again, that's the second movie. Hold on, but that's why the second movie is a fuck up, and we can't change that. But I like Palpatine because it kind of ties
look,
in from the old.
look.
From
This
the
is what I was
originals.
saying. I wanted to tell you what I would have done. So Snoke died in the second one. What I would have done, instead of having Palpatine, have like the fucking scientists that made Snoke, or whatever you want to call them, the same way they showed while Snoke was just one of the many clones. He had clones of like all kinds of
But
people, and one of them, dun, 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 is a Ray, and there's multiple Rays.
but you know what? I prefer the family drama side of it than clone science fiction side of it because that feels more like Star Wars to me.
Yeah,
A space opera, a family drama.
no, like I
That's Star
said,
Wars.
the Snoke,
If it was the clone thing,
right.
there's no heart in that.
You didn't let me finish,
All right,
bro.
go
You
for
didn't
it,
let
bro.
me. You didn't let me finish. And then the base whatever that they used to make the clones of fucking Rey would have been the fucking granddaughter of Palpatine. Palpatine wouldn't even be in the movie. He was just trying to harness the same kind of power that Palpatine had through his granddaughter by making a fucking army of her, and it just didn't go right. And then Snoke wasn't even the real one. It was just another clone, like a botched experiment that trying to make Rey. It would have fucking made everything just be like, oh, that's why he didn't matter. This one, it was just like so fucking. Oh, remember Palpatine? He's back, and he's not really gonna do anything, I guess.
Pedro, you have to write a fan fiction with that. Okay.
Hire me, Disney.
I
I'll
just-
fix your bullshit.
Yeah, I just want to point out how Kathleen Kennedy literally said in an interview that, oh well, it's not like we have comic books and novels and all
We
that before
said
that.
this last episode, and she
and
should be
the-
hung for it.
And the entire concept of Palpatine didn't die because
Okay.
they were able to extract the source of like his soul and implant it into like a cloned body is literally pulled out of the Dark Empire series which was like I think one of the first things that was written right after right after or right before the Thrawn trilogy that was written.
It's
That the,
pulled out of Harry Potter, Voldemort, and Snape is Kylo.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
Hold on.
and I literally have to stop you because the Dark Empire story predates the Harry Potter story by like a decade.
And wait, before we continue, didn't Palpatine straight up look like GLaDOS dressed up like Palpatine? I am Palpatine.
I am Palpatine. I actually like that design of him where he was
no,
just
I liked it. It
he,
looked cool.
he
as
was
shit.
just like he was
I
just like a
gonna say-
corpse.
Yeah,
I
I
like
was gonna
that.
say the way he looked in that area with the
Yeah.
lightning. I mean, he looked like a monster from a Universal.
That's
monster
what
movie.
all the
He-
Sith should look
Those
like.
white eyes, that was fucking cool. Like as cheesy as bringing back Palpatine was, how he looked in that setting, that was awesome.
I just don't think he should have been the centerfold. I
I'm
think he
okay
should
with
have just
that.
been a piece of yeah
I don't know, but I like seeing him again and
or
seeing
centerpiece.
his
My bad, I said
ultimate
centerfold.
power.
What if they would have revealed that like Darth Plagueis had never died and he was alive?
Oh,
the
now,
entire
now we're
time?
just asking for way too much. Nah,
Yeah, but no, he's not in. Was he even any of the main movies?
no,
Okay,
it's
then
just
you
comic
can't-
books and books
you
and
can't do
video
that.
games.
No, he gets mentioned by Palpatine, and he was Palpatine's
But look,
master.
the reason why I go with the cloning thing is because it would tie up all three sagas. Because cloning was the biggest thing in the prequels. We have all this nostalgia from the original trilogy, and in this last one, all they kept doing was referencing the original trilogy. They didn't reference clones or anything from the fucking prequels. So the whole cloning thing to me would have been fucking dope as shit to do.
I mean, we literally got a vat of Snoke clones.
Yeah, but it was more like damage control. It was like a pan. They panned past it. They didn't even acknowledge it. They're like, oh, by the way, this is why he doesn't matter. Continue. I don't know, man. I just think that it was lazy filmmaking to me. It was just like let's fix this the simplest way we possibly can. And then they introduced characters that like you're supposed to care about, but like the fucking girlfriend to Poe. Like no one gives a shit. Who the fuck are you? You hated him the second he landed, and then 5 seconds later you're buds.
Well, yeah, that's how love works.
What about Bobo Frick? He was the cutest little guy.
Yeah, that guy was dope. That one was dope. Again, that whole C-3PO wiping his memory, that fucked with me.
You know what
That's the
upset
first
me?
time I cried was when C-3PO was like, I'm taking one final look at my best friends.
And then in true comic book fashion, they brought him back to
Well,
life.
What upset me about that is one, either have the convictions to stick with it,
Yep.
or B, because R2's mind was never wiped after the prequels. When he restored 3PO's memory, he should have restored all of 3PO's memory.
Right.
Like 3PO should have all remembered, all of a sudden been like Anakin or something, like called out for his maker or something.
Yeah.
Because it's just now, and we don't know if we're gonna get another Anthony Daniels in another movie. Because the only thing they've said, and we're waiting till January, which is
Okay,
when
hold
they
on.
said the next
They said that they're not making any
What-
more Star Wars
trilogies.
Yeah, bullshit.
They said they're not
Bullshit.
making any
They
more.
gave fucking Ray a
trilogies.
yellow fucking lightsaber for what? Just
Again,
for fun?
They said they're not making any more trilogies.
They're making a spin-off for sure with Lando and that girl.
That
That
I
they
could see
found.
being a Disney Plus real easy. I would hope if you're gonna continue Finn's story that
Poor guy.
you're gonna make that a movie.
That was such a.
But it might be
cool-
like maybe when they said no more trilogies, I think it's because they're either gonna go the route of like we're just gonna do one-off movies, and if they do well and people like the story and there's a place for the story to go, we'll do a sequel to it, or maybe they're just gonna be like, yeah, we're not gonna limit ourselves to 3 movie stories. Because that's what I feel happened with this one is that, well, the sagas are all
No.
trilogies.
No.
We
I'm
need
going to
to
stop
end the
you.
saga with a trilogy.
I'm going to stop you. Louis hit it right on the head last issue. He said the problem with these movies is that it wasn't planned out. It was just random people jumping in and picking up after the other. That's what it was.
And that's why this movie was all damage control.
Yeah.
Because they hadn't planned ahead.
Yeah, because
They could've-
J.J. Abrams came back and be like, this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah, they could have planned this Palpatine thing from the start.
Yeah.
What would have been cool is that the second movie either the second movie reveals that she's the granddaughter of Palpatine, which would be like
That would have been
history
awesome.
repeating
It should have
itself,
been. It should have been. She should have found out right in the beginning of the movie when she's
Or-
training with Luke, as she like taps into his memory or
or
some
what
something.
would have been cool too is that the the part at the end where we're all everyone's licking their wounds at the end of the second movie is that Rey becomes a Sith, and it's like, oh shit, and the movie ends with her revealing herself. She went to the dark side, now
Yeah.
she's a Sith, and maybe she's with Palpatine, and so then and then the third movie, it's her coming back to the light, and Kylo Ren ends up converting to the
Right.
light and giving her.
I
I don't
just
know,
felt.
whatever,
I
but
just felt the whole movie was too simple. Like it was just like, oh, okay, I'm on a ride. Okay, this is happening. This is happening. There was no suspense. There was even like a scene. I think there's a scene. Actually, no, there was. There was in the trailer too, where they're running through a hallway and just like shooting all the stormtroopers as they're running, and they're just. It was like they're running towards the camera and stormtroopers just dropping as they come into frame. It's just like there's nothing at stake. It was just
Plot
so
armor.
simple. What?
Plot armor.
Yeah, plot armor. These motherfuckers, at least in the original trilogy, they had to like hide behind the doors and like, we got to get cover. Oh, we're saying all
We
this
don't
shit.
have
These
time to
niggas were
hide
just
behind
running,
doors, man.
blasting.
We gotta get things done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, it is what it
Okay,
is, man.
now let me get to the bad writing. This was fuck. This point of the movie, this one line made me laugh so hard that I made the entire theater fucking crack the hell up. It was when they introduced we have a spy in the Empire. Ooh, who could it possibly be? And then when they finally catch Poe and Finn, and he's like, "Give me the gun, I want to do it," and he shoots the two stormtroopers, and he blatantly comes down and says, "I was the spy." Like, oh, you can't just imply it. You have to go ahead and like shoot it out with a megaphone. Shut, man, you're fucking bad at writing movies. You fucking. Nah, I can't hate on JJ. He makes good movies. I just feel real bad for him.
Listen, I think that was part of what a sniveling character would do. Like that guy always wants credit for all the stuff he does. That guy's a little weasel. We call him the Weasley.
It's not like he became a spy because he felt the First Order went too far. He became a spy literally to spite Kylo Ren.
That was so stupid. That was that. It would have been better if they just made him an actual spy. Everything you know about him was just fabricated, and then when he gets back with the other dudes, he's a completely different character, like completely different person. But instead, they're just like, no, I'm the spy. Shoot me in my arm because they're gonna know. Man,
You
shut
know,
the fuck up. You're
that-
so bad. You're
that
so
would've
bad.
worked.
Hold on, that was one. There was there was multiple.
No,
there was
but,
one.
But
And
we're on this guy.
Okay,
Let's not move on to the next guy.
I'm getting all fired up. This shit was bothering me.
That would have worked if you would have introduced Admiral Pride, I think was his name, from the first movie. And if this guy was like second in command to that guy, the entire story, and then you get to the third movie and you realize the entire time this guy's been a spy.
Yeah.
That guy was
That would've been
literally
better.
on the fucking in front of all the stormtroopers announcing that we're gonna annihilate all the planets. And then the only reason that he goes and he turns into a spy and gives up the information is just because fucking Kylo Ren stepped in, killed Snoke, and basically knocked him out of his position of becoming the Supreme Chancellor of the
Wait,
the
wait.
Supreme
Are you
Leader.
arguing that that's good? You
No,
like-
I'm not arguing
Okay.
it's good.
Okay.
I'm just saying why it doesn't work the other way around.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I was like, you actually liked that he was just like, I'm the spy.
No, but I'm also not as upset about it as you are
That's
because
stu-
this whole fucking saga has been full of cheesy fucking lines
was-
and
but
stupid
it's
fucking
not che-
dialogue
it's
that
not
was
che-
written for 6-year-olds.
It's not cheesy line. It's not because it's a cheesy line. It's just that it was so stupid. It's like saying, I'm gonna open the door, and then you open the door, and then you walk in. You don't have to say it. You saved them. They already, and then they could just be like, was he the spy? Was he the fucking? And then that's how you explain it. You don't have to go out and say. Just like when Ray was another stupid moment. The ship was flying away, and they had that tug of war on the ship. That shit was stupid. It was like, okay, if it was like 2 seconds long, fine, I could understand it. But that shit's dragged on for so
They got
long.
me with it.
What?
They got me with it.
They got you with it?
For sure. I thought that Chewie was dead at that moment.
They should have killed Chewie.
I
That should.
didn't. No, I didn't because in movies and cartoons and anything, when there's a character that you like and they die in an explosion where you don't see them die, they're not dead.
They're not dead. Exactly.
Whether it's a good guy or bad guy, if they're important, they didn't die.
That was so stupid. And then
Yeah, but these movies have been killing off our favorite characters like since the beginning.
Yeah, but they make a big show out of it.
Yeah.
They don't just
They
do
make a big
background
scene, yeah.
explosion. Oh, Chewie was
everyone in these movies have died in like our favorites have all died in the most epic ways. And then to kill except for Akbar, rest in peace, bro. You did good.
But oh shit, I had a thought and it completely
My
slipped
bad.
mind.
I have a good thought. Shoot.
Oh wait, I just remembered. When C-3PO, when they were gonna wipe his memory, and then they were like, "Oh, R2-D2, he can't keep his stuff together." I was in my head, I was like, "Oh, that's how he's gonna get his memory back." I knew it was coming back. I didn't think he was gonna stay with his memory wiped at all. And I think everyone else kind of felt the same way because when he got his memory back, nobody clapped, nobody like cared, and they were clapping for everything.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, like I think it was because we all kind of knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah, everyone knew he was getting his memory back for sure.
I guess I saw it in the theater with a bunch of haters because like everyone was
Yeah, you went to
laughing.
the 11 o'clock showing.
Yeah, I saw it with a bunch of people who
You
just
saw it with a
fucking.
bunch of snarky teenagers.
Yeah, no, it was a bunch of like older guys, and we were just like the only reason why I felt comfortable laughing out loud like that is because of how much like there was so many points in the movie where they're just like, really? Like that? Like I would hear them behind me saying that. And then when that fucking I'm the spy, I fucking cracked the fuck up. And then the other one was and this one also made me laugh loud as fuck was was when Ray was like talking to Kylo, like I guess force talking. I don't remember exactly how it went down, but she's just like, "You know who I am? Who am I?" And he's like, "You tell me." He's like, "Not now." We're like, "What?" And then literally like 5 minutes later, when they confront each other, he just tells her, "Yeah, you're a Palpatine." Like it was just so bad writing. It was so
Well, that
not now.
No, but that part I got because it was like, okay, if he tells her now, maybe she runs off the ship before he gets there.
Or just don't
He's
say
bait-
anything. It's
he
called
was baiting her to make sure she stayed on the ship.
Wait, did they ever reveal what Finn was gonna tell Ray?
No. That was another thing. I was waiting to know what the fuck that was. Nah, forget it. You don't need to know.
I don't need to know.
It was his declaration of love, you guys. It's obvious.
which would have sucked.
It would have sucked, so I'm glad he didn't get it out.
Because
there.
I don't need him to be
Okay,
the guy.
guys.
A poor guy got friend zoned in the first movie. Like I don't need him declaring his love, and she could be like, "Oh, sorry, I'm just kind of getting out of this thing with this guy." And
I just kissed Kylo. Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Okay, so
what
Big moment.
I would have hoped it would have been like I think I might have some force sensitivity. That would have been like okay, that because the way that he talks about the force in this movie is like like you said, he feels like Chirrut from Rogue One.
You would know his fucking name. No one else does.
He was gonna say, "Palpatine's my grandfather."
okay, guys. Big moment. Remember that movie where they were giving Luke the medal, Han Solo, Leia?
Yeah, Chewie finally got his
Chewie
medal.
got his medal, guys.
Yeah, man. That was one of the times I got teary eyed when he got his medal. I was like, "Fuck yes, finally!"
Yeah, I was I
That
said
was
I
fun.
literally said finally when I saw that, but I felt like it was just bad delivery. I was just like it was just like kind of handed to him like, "Oh, by the way, here you go, bud." Like it wasn't like a thing, but whatever. I like that they gave it to him. I like that
it was like Leia left this for you.
Is that what he
Which-
said?
That's what it is. She was like Leia. It was something like Leia left this for you,
Oh,
and it was because of the fact that like at the end of the movie, Leia literally gives a medal to Han and a medal to Luke,
Oh,
and poor Chewie gets left there like, hey,
I'm
what the hell?
hoping-
What about me?
I know you're telling that to the audience because you're not telling that to us. 'Cause we know this shit.
Well, I know you guys know that, but it's got to be said for those who are like casuals.
Yeah, nah, but I liked that they did that, but I was kind of like, oh, that should have just been that should have been a bigger moment. That's all. It was kind of just like here. I liked it, but it was just
Should
like
it have
here.
been an actual ceremony? And
No.
Chewie-
It shouldn't. I don't think it should have been a ceremony, but I think it should have been more like, oh, Leia left stuff for you,
Well-
and then he goes inside and he opens the box
Okay.
and he sees the thing.
You-
It should have just been a bigger thing.
You know
That's
what?
all.
Let's get into it. Let's talk about Leia. I have a strong feeling that in this movie, she was supposed to play a much bigger role.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like the whole memory thing with Han Solo was not in the script originally, was not an idea originally. I almost feel like it should have been like it was supposed to be her maybe trying to connect with him through the Force, or maybe her coming in as a Force ghost to talk to him. But because obviously she wasn't available, they were like, okay, well let's get Harrison Ford in here. We'll have him do this thing. We'll say it's like basically Kylo remembering something or having like an inner monologue within his own head,
Yeah.
and but it'll still be like kind of a connection moment. And I feel like it was supposed to be that moment when she reaches out through the Force in order to maybe try to prevent the fight that he's having with Rey. That maybe that's what it would have been, is her showing up, her putting an end to the fight between the two of them, and then her being the reason why they stop fighting, or maybe she distracts him and Rey stabs him.
I wish, I wish that she actually like stabbed him and just left him to die, and just being that moment is where she turned into a Sith, like right there, and then miraculously he survives. I don't know. Somebody could write why he survives, but I wanted that to be it, and then at the end, him forgiving her for doing it. It would have been so much more poetic. It was just so much boring bullshit.
Oh, sorry. But I feel like it couldn't have ended with her as a Sith, because that would be like defeat on her character.
But that's what it
And
should have been. Because it was so she was
I
too
don't know.
powerful the entire time. It should have been
Yeah,
okay. You never
that
saw
makes sense
you
too.
never saw you didn't see Game of Thrones, but at the end of Game of Thrones, the coolest character throughout all the seasons ends up being a fucking lunatic, and she thinks she's right. And I thought that was fucking dope as shit. That was like her perspective. It should have been the same thing with Rey. She doesn't know how to control it anymore. Emotions took over her, like Anakin, and she's doing what she feels is right, but obviously it's wrong. And then flip flop where Kylo, where he thought he was bad, but deep down he had like he was just a good person, and he was just like fuck, I was misguided and shit.
I feel that would be good if it was in the second movie to end on a cliffhanger like that, where she's a Sith. But I feel
Oh,
like the
I'm not
movie.
talking about just this movie. I'm talking about how the story should have played out altogether. Because in this movie, there was nothing. Look, J.J. Abrams did the best he could with what he was given. I give him that, but that doesn't make the movie good. It doesn't. He did the best he could. For me, he did the best that he possibly could with what he was given, but the movie was not good. It was worse than the last
There was the scene where Luke came back as a Force ghost and was talking to Rey.
one. He said, I made a mistake.
Dude, he said I made a mistake because she had said something like, "Didn't you do something like that?"
Yeah, when he stayed on the island all
That's
those
like
years.
that's like saying, "Hey, movie, f you. I made a mistake. The whole movie was a mistake."
That's literally what it was. That's why I'm saying that like the writing in this movie was so poor because he didn't have to go out and say that. He could have just been like, "Oh, you misinterpreted." I don't know. He could have just write something better. Everything was just like, how do we make this creative? Uh, fuck it, I made a mistake. Fuck it, I'm a spy. Fuck it, I'm not gonna tell you. I'll tell you later. Like, oh god damn it, it's just so lazy writing, dude. The entire movie just felt lazy. But poor JJ, he jumped into this shit. The last guy just took a dump on all of his ideas, and he had to try to figure it out. Whatever. Doesn't make it good though.
He should have never given it up then. That's on him.
He gave it up.
He was the one that was like, yeah, I want to do other things. I can't come back and do the second
Oh,
movie.
really?
Yeah.
No, it's not on him. He's just a director. It's on fucking what's her name?
No.
Kathleen Kennedy.
No,
whatever that bitch
because
is.
I'm sure they would have paid him whatever it was or whatever to have him do the second one. Also, he was the one that was like, yeah, I did the first one. I kind of want to go do something else.
Nah, it should
And
have
then
been
they
in
had to back
contract.
up the Brinks truck to do the third part, because he should have just been like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do the entire
No.
trilogy.
But no, you're just like you always say. The actors aren't responsible. It's the director. The producer's the one who's supposed to be telling. Okay, we're gonna make a trilogy. One motherfucker's writing the whole trilogy. We could have different directors portraying
Yeah.
but one
But
person.
again, I think that just goes to show
It was
why
just
Kathleen Kennedy is the wrong person for the
she
job.
should be fired straight up.
Because she didn't have the foresight to say, we're doing we have 3 movies, we need a coherent vision, and before you even start directing the first film, we need a storyline for all 3.
Yeah. Okay, so now that I took a shit on it, let me tell you the things I liked about it. Because there was a couple. There was a couple. The story itself, the the things that happened to get to the end, everything made sense, and I enjoyed it. I think the characters could have been swapped, but like what happens, I think was cool. My with the exception of the whole fleet army thing, because that was kind of like out of nowhere, but whatever, that's fine. What?
You mean the fleet army of star destroyers that have the ability to blow up planets?
Yeah, yeah, like mini Death Stars, everybody, and but they have that technology, but they can't get off the planet. They can't get out of the atmosphere without a fucking beacon.
You know, it's
Uh,
funny because there's like there's a person that I've listened to a lot of their YouTube stuff, and they always talk about how like when you have like a business, you have a corporation, you need conservative people because they know how to implement ideas and get things done, right? And then you need people who are like free thinkers and all of that because they know how to innovate and change things. And if you look at like these movies and you kind of view them on a perspective
it's
of
all
right and
left.
left,
It's all left.
and you view like the Empire as like the ultimate conservatives,
Yeah.
it's the pure definition of we know how to implement things, we know how to get things done, we know how to create a fleet of warships that's bigger than any fleet you've ever seen before in our lives, but we're not creative thinkers, so we just keep coming up with the same idea over and over and over again.
It was the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's I don't know. I liked. I also liked in the movie was
And
the
that's about as political as I'm gonna get.
yeah. Don't get no more. I liked the the uh, the arc with the Sith Lord that killed, or I guess he was a bounty hunter. I don't even know what he was. The one that killed Ray's parents.
The
The finding his ship, using his ship. I thought that
Okay,
entire
so
sequence was
so
really
we
cool.
know the planet is basically populated by like a Sith worshipping cult. So I guess he was like one of the top guys from that planet.
Wait. The sand planet that he got stuck
No, no,
underground.
the planet that the planet that Palpatine is on.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
it's like the Sith homeworld,
yeah.
and I'm guessing the guy that was doing these things for him was like from that planet.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if he's a bounty hunter.
I don't know either. They said he was a Sith.
He's
But
just
I
like
don't.
a top henchman, I would say. You know what? Maybe you know what maybe he is maybe he's like some sort of version of like the Inquisitors on that we have in like the Clone War and not the Clone Wars that we have in Rebels.
I don't. I
We
haven't
have
seen Rebels.
so in Rebels and also in Fallen Order, they've established this whole thing of like
Whoa! I'm playing that right now. By the way, that game is fucking
okay,
fantastic.
so if you're playing it right now, you've probably already encountered the Inquisitors. They established this whole thing about like Darth Vader and the Emperor took force sensitive people, some of which had been Jedi Padawans, and basically turned them to the dark side in order to hunt down other Jedi.
Yeah, I haven't gotten there. Thanks.
You watched all of Rebels.
No, I haven't seen Rebels yet.
You haven't watched Rebels? What the fuck is wrong
No,
with you?
I haven't seen it. Have you guys? This is a tangent. Have you guys caught up with Mandalorian?
Yeah.
That last episode was sick as fuck. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that.
And I feel like the reason they rushed and hurried, even though we kind of
Was the
expected,
healing?
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like we kind of like we saw that coming in like the second episode
Yeah.
when he keeps on trying to reach out for his wounds and like he keeps putting him back in the bassinet. When he finally heals the guy in this episode, and you're like, oh, okay, they're establishing like yes, this is a force
Sorry,
power that
Louis.
exists.
We're not supposed to be talking about the Mandalorian.
I didn't say who he heals.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Now I know that.
Whatever. It's a minor. It's a minor thing.
It's a
But
minor character.
yeah, but I felt that Chewie and Lando had like the best chemistry out of everybody in that entire fucking movie. When they're in the pilot,
That's a Disney Plus series I would watch. Is Chewie and Lando.
not at this age. I don't know. I like actually that's another thing I liked. I really liked how they handled Lando. I like how they did everything with Lando. Like he still has that boss attitude. You know, he's like full of himself. I like that. And like when he was piloting, if it felt like he didn't miss a beat. It was just like old Star Wars all over again, where he was talking to Chewie. He's like, "Let's go, Chewie." It just felt like Star Wars, and nobody else had that.
Exactly.
Yeah, but no one else had that. Just the old. They should have just made new Star Wars with old people because it would have been so much better. It was just fucking. I don't know, man. It's just.
There's one scene that I really enjoyed. It was Ray. when she was in the ship talking about how she's gonna kill somebody, Palpatine, I think it
Mhm.
was, for killing her parents. That showed you that it was she was kind of being attracted by the dark side, and also it gave Finn a bigger role in it because he's like, oh crap, guys, there's something wrong with Rey. So that for me, I liked getting that glimpse into Rey, and it gave her more dimension as opposed to ultimate power.
I'm
I think
actually
you're just a fan because I didn't feel I felt like you could have deleted Finn out of the entire thing and nothing would have changed. He played no important part to anything in the movie. He killed the coolest looking character by accident, just like they did Boba Fett. It's like they don't learn from their mistakes. They killed Phasma by like the
on
ball
the
was on
no.
the
I was saying, who
AT-ATs.
did he kill in this movie by accident?
Yeah, no, the last movie. This movie,
He
he
didn't kill her
literally
by
didn't do
accident.
anything.
He beat the shit out of her with the fucking with that like lightning staff or whatever.
Was that what happened? I remember the
Yeah, they
ball, BB
well at the
whatever.
at the end like BB-8 saves his ass, but they got into a fight. They were going at
Oh,
it.
that's
He
right. He
cracks
had
her
that
helmet.
baton bullshit. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
The the Finn storyline, like I said, if they would have had more time for it, like I almost feel like from here
It's
Finn
not
goes off.
time.
I feel like Finn establishes a new like Force religion, and like maybe he gathers these other like former First Order child soldiers, and if, obviously if there was an entire squadron of them that laid down their arms, that means obviously throughout the entire First Order there have to
Dude,
be other
it was
other
just
soldiers that like walked away or escaped.
they just wrote him so bad. They gave him so much potential. He should have been the military intelligence of the entire thing because he understands what the empire, how the empire trains. He understands all that shit. So his role should have been, I'm going to teach you guys how to beat infantry and how to fight these guys one on one. Because up until now, it's just ships all over the place. You need infantry, and he should have been the main guy there.
But he was the guy. There were moments in the movie where he's like, "Wait a minute, why are they doing this thing? Oh, it must be because they're doing that other thing." And then
Yeah, they're depowering the antenna that's on the planet. That means they're gonna use one of the ships.
in the scene where they're strategizing, he's like, "We got to take down that navigation thing." So he's the strategy guy.
Wait. I'm not saying that he didn't do that. I'm saying that they didn't make that his character. At the end, he does that, yeah. But up until now, you don't see him ever. There's no foreshadowing that he's gonna know how to do that shit.
Not
Absolutely, there is. He was telling them the plans for the ship, and he was saying, "This is how the technology works." In, I believe, the first movie.
No. In the first movie, the person who comes up with it destroying the Death Star or the planet was Han Solo. He's like, it worked last time. We could do it again. It was literally that conversation. When they went back into the thing, the planet, he told them he knows the ins and out. And then Han was like, "We could use you because you know the ins and out." He didn't come up with that idea. He didn't come up. He didn't design anything. He was just there.
It's true that he didn't design that role for himself, but he fell into it after that scene. Like, after that, they always consult with him, like, "What do you think about this plan?" Like, he's always the one that says, like,
well in this
"This
movie
is
they
how it
consult with
works."
him. In the last movie, he literally wakes up from the back to tank and is like, "Oh, we're in deep shit," and it's like, "Let me come up with this plan. Like, I want to get out of here," because at that point he hasn't learned yet to like fight for another cause. All he's thinking about is, I gotta find Ray and we gotta get the hell out of here. And it takes all of Last Jedi
Well,
for
that's
him to realize, like, oh shit, like there are other people's lives at stake at this. I can't just be selfish about myself. When we get to this movie, we get a lot more of him being like more level-headed, more, okay, we're like, I'm on this mission because we need to get this information because we got planets at stake, we got things we need to take care of. So this movie, he's much more level-headed, much more ready for it, and because we just don't have time for him.
Was he the one who found out the beacon the first time, or was he just the one who decided to shoot the cockpit? Like
No,
the
he's the one. He's the one that's like, okay, they're we blew up the thing. They're finding a way to reroute power. We need to take out this ship because if this ship starts communicating the coordinates, they're gonna be able to get this fleet out of here. He's the one that makes the call. I need to stay behind. I'm gonna see if I can get this like turret or whatever back online and blow up the ship.
Okay.
and she goes, "Well, I'm gonna stay with you." So
The
that's how it winds up the two of them staying behind.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Um,
could have wrote that for
I
anybody
love
else.
I love how they gave them a connection, but it's not a romantic one.
Come on, Pedro, admit it. He's incredible.
Dude, his hair in this movie, oh, it's
Is
so nice.
fantastic.
It really is.
No, don't you mean finpressive?
Shit. What else?
Ah, finally.
I think I pretty much covered it. I mean, I didn't like it. I think it's the weakest one of the three, but not for. I don't like it the same reason why I don't like the last one. The last one I didn't like because I think it was just fucking not Star Wars. This one felt more like Star Wars, but it was just bad. It was just everything was too rushed. Everything was too hard. Now you guys tell me, what did you guys like? Because I told you everything I don't like.
I ate an entire bowl of popcorn within the first 15 minutes of this movie and was just enjoying the hell out of it the entire run through. There was some subtext that I picked up on, but for the most part, I mean, it was just a big dumb fun action movie,
Yeah, but
and I enjoyed that kind of movie. Like
there's no heart. There was no heart in this whole saga. That's the only reason why I like Star Wars. Is because it has so much heart, so much personality. Everybody is so like it's a character. And in this one, it just felt like, hey, remember Star Wars? This is kind of like it.
yeah, and
That's what it is.
sometimes that's good enough for me.
Oh, well, okay.
I feel like it was a good end to the series considering the trash fire they gave him. The garbage, what was the dumpster fire that they gave him. I feel like he did a nice job of wrapping it all up, making the best of what he had, and I felt like it was Star Wars. And in the end, my boy Kylo redeemed himself like Snape does, so I was happy.
I always had an issue with like the whole idea of like Anakin redeemed himself. I'm gonna say the same thing about Kylo redeeming himself. Like no, they did a good thing in the end. I don't know if you can be redeemed from genocide.
That's why I felt like he should have just ran away and go into isolation, just like Hermit himself. Like, cause he was so upset with himself, he should. It would just give him more character. Just to I don't know.
Yeah, for me, I mean, again, yeah, we know it was damage control from the last movie, and there's a lot of fan service, almost like saying, "Sorry that last movie happened. Here's some fan service."
Yeah.
And I went into the movie with thinking this is gonna be terrible because of the last movie, and I was just like, nah, let's just watch this and see what happens. So you know, but I had a lot of fun, and at one point in the movie, I was like, am I just liking this because I went in with such low intentions, or is this actually good? But I really liked it. I was like, yeah, no, this is good. And I mean,
But
there
what
was
did you like? The whole point is I wanted to know what you liked about it. Like what
I had
was a
fun. It
what were
felt
moments that you guys were watching and you were just like, oh, I fucking love this. You know what I
okay.
mean?
So one of them, we already talked about some of the moments that we liked, like with Lando and Chewie and
That's literally the very end, but yeah.
I don't know. I loved all the Palpatine scenes. I liked the Palpatine twist with Rey as the
I
granddaughter.
did too.
I thought
I
that
just
was
wish it
cool.
wasn't
So
Palpatine.
do I. I wish all this stuff about Star Wars with this new trilogy. It's not gonna happen. So I'm just looking now at what we got for the last movie and what we got. I was happy with. I mean, am I ever gonna watch it again? I don't know. I don't think I will. Maybe. I mean, it's gonna get on Disney Plus. I'll probably watch chunks of it or something. But and also like the I got teary eyed with the whole when Carrie Fisher's when Princess Leia passes away. I don't know. I started thinking about Star Wars as a whole, and Princess Leia being there like the whole time, and then she passes away, and I was thinking about Carrie Fisher, and I don't know, like her passing away felt more like real just because I saw it like that, and when she disintegrates into the cloth or whatever, like I know, okay, like that's kind of it's nerdy to think that way, but that's how I felt. I was like emotional when she passed away because I was like, damn, Carrie Fisher really did pass away, and this is sad.
Yeah, and the way they end the movie where Ray buries the two lightsabers in the sand and kind of leaves them there, it's kind of like a form of respect for the entire
That's what I was gonna
saga.
say next too. That you know me, I've said it multiple times on this podcast where I said I'm always like, damn it, why didn't they have a moment where Han, Luke, and Leia reunited? And they never did that. So when she buries the two lightsabers together, and then you see the two of them appear as Force Ghosts, to me that was like the closest thing to at least Luke and Leia finally reuniting together in these movies, and that was like kind of a big deal for me. I was like, oh, it got me kind of emotional. I was like, oh, thank goodness they finally reunited. I mean, they're Force Ghosts, but it's better than nothing,
Yeah.
and I like that. I really like that.
I was too I was too bothered by the fact that she turned into a goat force ghost because one of my biggest prides or one of my favorite things
But
about Star Wars is how they explain the force ghost
but
in the Clone Troopers.
but they, I mean, and I feel like I don't know how they did it because apparently because I remember them saying like we're never gonna CGI Carrie Fisher
Not
because we
not
promised her,
not recent, but the old one, yeah.
but the fact that they and it was that footage from Jedi that they used
No, that looks
That was
when they do
CG
the
as
train
fuck.
when they do the train because they go out of their way to show you that and Luke is telling her is like when we were finishing her training when we were on her last trial. So they basically are telling you, like, yes, after the last movie ended, after Return of the Jedi, Luke trained her how to become a Jedi.
Right.
But because she had a vision where she foresaw her son's death, she chose not to continue down that path. But she still had that training. She still had that knowledge. That's how she was able to be training Rey for these last few years.
Yeah, I think that was damage control because of the Mary
the Mary
Poppins
Poppins.
fly.
I was thinking that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but like, so you talk about like, okay, she may have not been actively being a Jedi, but having that connection with the Force, being in charge of the Resistance forces, I'm sure she had a lot of time to like meditate and contemplate and like kind of be on her own and learn how to be in tune with the Force, which is all that's ever really been needed in order for you to become a Force ghost. Like
No.
Qui
No.
Gon, who's the one that basically is the one that kind of starts this tradition and who never actually becomes a full like corporeal force ghost. He just kind of becomes a voice in the force. He's the one that always talks about having a connection with the living force. Like that like and when you get to Clone Wars and you get to Yoda and at the end of the Clone Wars Yoda's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I've been talking to Qui-Gon and we have some training to do." And Obi-Wan did the training on his own on Tatooine. Like
No. They went to that planet. That's why I like it so much. They had to go to that planet where the Force.
no, but Obi Wan doesn't learn about becoming in tune with the Force and becoming a Force ghost until after Revenge of the Sith. Remember at the end of Revenge of the Sith
But he finds out how to
when
do
he
it.
talks to Yoda and Yoda says, "I have a new master and an old one of yours, and we have some training for us to do that we're going to be doing while we're away and waiting for the kids to grow up or whatever." I don't remember the exact line, but I just remember him saying it's like he's a new master for me and an old one for you because he had that moment where he talked to Qui Gon in the Force.
Okay, but to do the ghost thing, they showed you in the show where they had to go. He had to go to that planet or that that place where
I don't.
the force just exists. There's no light or dark. It's just the force, and the only people who could harness that was the
Yeah,
light users, because dark users
but
weren't able to.
I don't take that to mean that you have to go to that
Oh, I
planet.
did. That's
I
what I
take
thought
it.
was cool.
I
Because
take
at
it.
the end, that what's his name? Obi-Wan gives the coordinates to Yoda, and the last scene is literally Yoda sitting inside the ship leaving to that planet.
But but the thing that you're talking about is on the Clone Wars is before Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
It means Yoda went to that planet before Revenge of the Sith, before he tells Obi-Wan about there's some new training for him to do. So I don't think you need to go to that planet to become a. You just have to
No, because
get
that's
deep into the
literally what
meditation.
Qui-Gon. Anyway, we're not gonna argue this, but that's what Qui-Gon told Obi-Wan. That's why Obi-Wan went to that planet to find out that power, so that he could become a Force ghost. That's what I want. That's what I thought it was. So like
My
the reason why not everybody has it is because it's this whole
well,
trial to
mm,
be able to learn
no,
how to do
my
it.
my interpretation of why not everyone has it is because, as I said, it takes a lot of meditation and contemplation
Yeah, but if you
with the living force that a lot of Jedi just weren't doing because they were doing their everyday Jedi things. Remember, by the time that we get to the prequel trilogies, the Jedi Order are basically just space cops,
yeah,
and a lot of them, just like regular cops, just doing their job and going home, and they're not
conquistadors,
actually.
bro. They're space conquistadors. That's what they were.
No,
Anyway,
because I would say that was more like the Republic's role,
well,
and
Sith, the Jedi's and the Sith are two religions, so it's literally that. It's just
yeah,
God worshippers fighting one another.
but remember, like, whereas the Sith actively sought control, the Jedi were just content to be like, yeah, no, listen, we don't want to have to deal with any of the governing stuff. We're gonna let the Republic do all the governing stuff, and instead of them going off and being on their own and devoting themselves to their religion, they basically became the like I said, force cops. They became the military wing of the Republic, and they were all put in charge of the clones when the Clone Wars started. And it's like these guys aren't military; they're monks. They're supposed to be. It's supposed to be a religion, but they're basically treated as peacekeepers. They're essentially cops.
Anyway, is that it? Did we cover everything? Is there anything else you guys want to put out there?
I kind of want to say how it's pretty cool in general how, you know, we've been able to live in a time where we saw not the original trilogy come out in its full, but at least the rest of it and all
Yeah.
these shows and other movies. And like, I don't know, that's pretty cool because it's Star Wars has been part of our life from our childhood, and it's grown with us. Maybe not for the best in some cases, but it's been there the whole time, evolving as it changes. We changed, and it's kind of cool. Like it's just this thing that's just always been there.
Are you sad that it's over?
I disagree. I don't think it's grown up with us, and I don't think it's evolved. I think it's the same thing it was in 1977.
No, no, no. The
And
sequels are the same. The prequel was a completely different animal. It's
I,
completely different.
it's still it's a fantasy action story
Yeah, but it was
teenagers.
one was a fantasy action. The second one was a fucking political action.
All I mean is that it's changed. Like the original trilogy feels different from the prequels, and the prequels feel different from these new movies. And that's what I'm saying. It's changed as it grows. It's changed. It's
Yeah.
become different.
So
things.
are you sad that it's over?
I don't think it's over though.
I feel betrayed. That's how I feel. It's something that I love so
Yeah.
much, and they mishandle it to such a bad extent.
I do feel betrayed in that sense too. That I said it again. I say it again.
Say it one more time.
Say it one more time. They should have fucking planned it from the beginning. All these three movies.
Yes.
That's what they should have done.
They should.
Because it would have come out so much better. They should have kept, like you said, it should have been on the contract. Same director or same
No,
writer,
same writer.
same writer for the whole thing, and not director, but same writer. Like they could have done that. They could have been so smart about this
Yeah.
because they had the money. They knew that they were going to make at least three more movies and probably more. They could have tied in all this stuff together. They could have done side movies that kind of like interlock with the main trilogy.
They tried.
They
They have 2 side movies, but they don't really do anything.
but they don't. No, but those were just like they were just like grabbing stuff from the original trilogy. And
Oh, you mean that coincides with
like
the fucking
the side
okay.
story should have been like companions to the main trilogy. They
I
could
see.
have done like a whole cool thing where everything ties in together. The right balance of the original characters from the first movie with the new characters coming in. Not too much of either one. Because for a while there, like it felt like they were trying to replace. That was another thing I like about this movie was that the first two kind of felt like they were just bringing in the original actors and stuff just to put him there to just kind of slowly phase him out to get
Yeah.
these new characters in.
There was no legacy.
There was exactly. There was no legacy. Where this movie like there was a little bit more of a legacy with Leia and Luke and Han and Lando coming in and that kind of stuff. So it felt a little bit better. Not again, it's not perfect. It all could have been so much better, but
Yeah.
and it sucks, But I mean, it
Yeah.
it is what it
I
is
just
at
feel
this
betrayed.
point.
That's it.
I
It's
agree.
just I wanted it. I from the first movie, I thought it could have been so good, and then it just
Yeah. I know.
constantly just going down. It was just so bad. It was, I don't know.
I like this one more than Last Jedi, but yeah, they could have done it so much better.
Yeah.
They could have planned it.
I think it's because I learned to let go with the prequel trilogy. Like the moment the prequel trilogy mentions like midichlorians and essentially starts contradicting the expanded universe, which up until that point I had been reading a ton of the books. I learned that like okay, the movies are not going to stick to the books that have been written, which the books were obviously written with a more mature audience in mind. The comics obviously were skewed a bit more towards a more mature audience in mind as well. Not the original Marvel comics, but like the Dark Horse stuff.
Mhm.
And the minute that the prequels come out and they're like, no, 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 these are movies for kids, and they've always been movies for kids, and they're always gonna be
No,
movies for
there weren't
kids.
always movies for kids. It was Return of the Jedi that turned it
Okay,
into a kids movie.
because they are all ages movies,
Okay.
they are movies for kids. So that's all it is. Because you don't make when
Now,
you
if you
make an all ages movie, you're making an all ages movie.
if you watch
You
if you
can't
watch
make a movie that has a darker, more mature subject matter because of the fact that it's for all ages.
now if you watch the first trilogy, the original trilogy, the first two movies, yeah, they're for all ages, but they have a very different tone. When you see the last movie, Return of the Jedi, it's a very different tone, and that's the same tone with the prequels and all the other ones. That's the established what Star Wars is. That's what it became. The whole
See,
very playful.
I don't.
The stakes are very low. I mean, think about it.
I
Return of the Jedi is my favorite. It's my favorite Star Wars movie. But there's the stakes are not high in that movie. Like nothing that's happening in that movie is like, oh shit, I'm on the edge of my seat. Everything from Empire, like you're on the edge of the seat the whole time because you don't know. Like everything is going against you. You know what I mean? You're getting backstabbed by your best friend. Like a whole bunch of shit's happening. The third one, you have teddy bears destroying robots. It's like it's a fun kids movie, and that's what all the other ones were. You have Jar Jar Binks stepping in Dookie and saying, "Oh, poopy pants" or whatever
yeah.
it is. You know?
But again, like I just I learned to let go with the prequels. So when these movies came out, I wasn't super attached anymore. And I feel like that's why I've been able to enjoy all these movies is because of the fact that like I've distanced myself, I've let go, I no longer had the passion that I had after over a decade of doing nothing but reading books and then walking into Phantom Menace. So for me, I mean, it was just another fun trilogy of movies.
That brings me to another point. Go ahead, Louis.
I was gonna say, so you're saying, Evan, that you let go of your anger.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but the cool thing about fandom is the passion you have behind something. Because at the end of the day, this is all stupid nerd bullshit. Who gives a fuck? Like honestly, this movie sucking is not going to change my life at all. But I kind of want it to be something great because I love it so much. That's the only reason why I care. Am I ever going to see this movie again? No. Why? Because the original trilogy still exists. I'll just watch that shit.
Yeah, but see that passion for fandom is just something I don't have time for that shit in my life anymore.
Except you're on a podcast where literally that's what you're supposed to have.
No, because I find like I can have conversations about this stuff without having to be so diehard passionate about it that I work myself into a frenzy when things don't go the way that I want
nobody's
it to
in
go.
a frenzy. We just have opinions.
No, you just came in here pissing shit and vinegar because you were fucking so fucking upset how
Yeah.
they ruined the fucking movie for
Well, I
you.
was just wanting to get my point out. That's it.
Yeah,
It's,
and I just
it's literally not going to change
and
my
I
life
just
at
I
all.
don't have time for that shit, bro. The same way that I cut sports out of my life a decade ago when I almost had a fucking heart attack watching the Dolphins get fucking stomped by the New England Patriots, I've also let go with shit like this because at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter in real life to my personal life. If you're gonna have passion for something, have passion for the people in your life, not passion for some fucking made up story by somebody who you're never gonna meet.
I think I figured it out because I feel the way Pedro feels, where like these things, even though it doesn't matter, they still feel like they're part of your life in the sense of like
They mean something
they
to you
mean
because
something
you
to you.
put
Like,
you put you put energy into it.
and we've said it before. It's like it feels like almost like a family member who started off so good and then they did some drugs and fucked up, and now you're like sad and disappointed
Yeah.
because they fucked things up. And it's like, yeah, they're just movies, but me and Pedro, we're artists, and these things inspire us to be creative and create.
Exactly.
And I think that's why me and Pedro
And
kind
not
of
just
feel that
artists,
way.
just people, just kids, people. Just
Everybody
inspires.
has, yeah, everybody. I mean, these people who get passionate about these things usually it's because, well, I don't know why exactly, but I just think maybe it's
It's because look. The only reason why people get excited about things is because you put energy into it. When you don't put any energy into it, then like whatever happens to it, you don't fucking care. You know what I mean? Like Louis, if the Miami Heat fucking win the next game, is it gonna change your life?
no,
Because you have no energy into it.
Right,
You don't
yeah.
give a fuck. You know what I mean?
But if you ask that question of someone like Gus, who is a sports
Right.
person,
That's called
I'm sure
fandom.
he would tell you, yeah, the Miami Heat win the next game. That'd be great for me.
Exactly. That's fandom, and that's what I think is cool.
The thing that I'm trying to kind of get across is that like, and I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm older than you guys, and I know I'm not much older than you guys, but I'm older than you guys. I saw.
We should have a tally. How many times Evan throws out the age card?
Yeah, I'm always gonna bring it up.
Okay.
I lived through the backlash that was the prequel trilogy,
Yeah, so did we.
right? And I am
We
now,
were the backlash.
but here's the thing. I went to Celebration 2 years ago when it was here in Orlando, and I saw the love for the prequel trilogy from those kids that were 15 years younger than us, right?
hmm
And 15 years from now, when we go to the next, like, not the next one, but like when we go to Celebration 15 years from now, and we're the old guys that are like, hey, remember our movies? We're gonna see how they're gonna be bringing out Daisy Ridley, and they're gonna be bringing out
And you just
these
made my
guys,
point.
and we're gonna see the love that like
Right.
that generation
And-
has for them.
And that's called fandom. And that's what I like. I'm not saying that everyone has to agree with me, but I want people to feel the same way I feel about this. Like, I hate this. Oh, but I love this. I love that. It's because you
Okay.
give a shit.
And-
You
and-
want
but
it to be
But
good.
that's the thing. I feel like the target audience. It's one of the reasons
The-
why we didn't see it during the backlash online on the prequel trilogy, because the people that loved that weren't really experiencing those forums, and they weren't on those message boards because they weren't really old enough to be on there yet. And we didn't start seeing that until recently, because only recently are these guys now old enough that they're doing YouTube videos and they're blogging,
Yeah.
and they now have the money that they can go to
Look,
these conventions.
everything also connects with nostalgia. We're no matter what happens, we're always going to like the original trilogy best, just because of nostalgia. We're attached to it because it's attached to our childhood. There's people who were children when Phantom Menace came out. They watch it and that's their Star Wars.
Yeah.
They think the other ones are for old people. Just like there's people who just grew up on this dumpster fire and they're probably going to be like, "This is my Star Wars. These are my favorite characters." The old ones are just old movies. They're not going to relate to it. But I like that. I like that people have some kind of You know what bothers me the most is when you go see a movie with somebody and you're super passionate about it, like, "Man, I fucking hate that they did this," blah, blah," and they're just like, "It was okay. I liked it." But what? I don't care. Yeah, it's fine. It's just like, why am I talking to you? You know what I mean? Like, there's no energy getting put into the art. It's like a throwaway. They finish watching the movie and they'll forget about it in a week. It's just time. It's just something that they did to take up their time. It's not something that they're gonna hold on to, cherish, really
But
look
that's-
into it.
but
That's not
those
fandom.
people usually have other things that they're
Right, but that's what I'm saying. It's not fandom, and I like fandom. I like when people are like they really like something and they have something to say about it.
Rick and Morty. You like that fandom?
I like that there is a fandom for it, but I don't like them. I won't I won't watch that show just because of it. But I like that there is a fandom for that shit. I like that the fact that you guys will defend that shit. Be like, no, it's actually pretty good, and not when I say it's shitty, and you guys be like, yeah, I guess that it's fine. It's cool.
Yeah.
This most recent season though hasn't been that great.
I don't know. I thought the episode 2 episodes ago was really good. The heist episode. Yeah. Anyways, the reason why I don't like fandom is because there's also the, and I hate using this term because I hate the fucking term, but since there's no other word for it really that I can think of, is toxic fandom.
Oh, but that's just gonna happen no matter what, bro. We live in an internet age. That's all people do on the internet.
But I don't want that negativity around me.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm at the point in my life where
just
like
don't look
I
at it.
don't want to hang around with negative people who are just negative for the sake of being negative. When I go in to look at a review and I see a shitty review and I start reading it and I go, this fucker hasn't seen the movie because he's shitting on this movie for things that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't need that in my life.
Then just don't let them have that opinion, but just don't let it affect you. That's it. That's how I look at it. I fucking hated it. A lot of people look three of the people in 3 out of the 4 people in this room loved it, and I did not like it. I didn't like anything about it. So.
I like when people disagree with me because that it gives me a different perspective.
Yes, and that's literally what I like about fandom. When
I
someone has nothing to contribute to a discussion is when I'm just like, you could leave. I don't need to
I
talk.
don't mind people who disagree with me when they actually have like a perspective.
But see, this is the way I look at
Because
it.
there are people who will disagree with you just to disagree with you,
Yeah.
but they don't actually have any kind of
I
viewpoint on
I
what it
agree
is.
with that because I've actually met people who fucking will hate on something just to hate on it, and not because they want it to be good, because they have like a long history with it. It's just they went to go see a movie for the first time, didn't like. I saw Blade Runner with somebody, the new one, and they were shitting on it, and I was just like, you don't like? Do you like Blade Runner? He's like, no, this is the first time I see it. It's such a stupid idea. I'm like, yeah, we don't need to talk anymore. We're
Well,
done.
but at least that guy went and saw the movie with
Yeah.
There are like what was the one that I saw recently that I was like, what the fuck?
On YouTube? Are you talking about YouTube?
Yeah.
A lot of these people do these things for clicks, bro. I don't trust you.
And that's the thing is like, but there's a lot of people like that'll watch on YouTube that I like some of their content, but then they'll all of a sudden have an opinion on something that like I wasn't even watching their show for in the first place.
Yeah.
Like there's this one channel that I watch, and I won't mention names because I'm not gonna give them a plug, but it's all about like medieval stuff and like medieval fighting styles, like medieval weaponry, and I like the channel for that. And then on Thursday, when the movie just came out, had an entire video about how the movie sucked. And it's like, first of all, you're not a member of the press. Did you get some sort of pass to the premiere? But I didn't even click on the video because I was just like, I don't want your channel for this. I don't want your opinion on this movie and why it
Yeah,
sucks.
but that's a different situation. It's clicks. YouTube is all about clicks. But let's bring it back. Let's wrap this up back with Star Wars. I wanted to ask you guys, just so we could wrap this up. You guys, how do you feel in comparison? Obviously, original trilogy is going to stand supreme. Did you guys like this more than the prequels or less than the prequels?
I'm gonna say I liked it about the same,
The same.
and that's because if I was gonna rank order them, obviously the original trilogy would be at the top
Obviously.
of my like
With Return of the
if,
Jedi
if
being
I'm
number
doing
one.
if I'm
correct.
doing top 9.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's the original trilogy is up at the top for me.
Actually, let's do that. Let's get this thought apart, and we'll close it with that. We'll say our from
Can we-
ranking.
can
We're
we
we're,
pause-
we're going late.
Can
We're
we
going.
pause and allow a moment for us
Okay.
to gather our thoughts?
And we're back.
Well, that was fast.
Yeah, that was quick. So, Eben, rank them.
All right. And I'm gonna go from the one I love the most to the one I like the least.
Right.
I'm going reverse order. I'm going number 1 to number 9, not the other way around.
Okay.
Number 1, Empire, and not because the movie takes a dark twist. No, Empire because I love Yoda,
Okay.
and Yoda in Empire is perfection. The Frank Oz puppetry, when he's like the little mischievous little
Yeah,
schemer,
he's a little
like,
dickhead.
yeah. And then eventually revealing that he has this deep connection with the Force, and he is the Jedi Master that Luke was like. Yoda is the reason why Empire is my favorite Star Wars movie.
All right.
That's followed by Return of the Jedi.
That's the
And,
best one. You got the first. You got the order wrong, but that's the best one.
Well, it's my order. Then obviously A New Hope.
First order, okay?
Yeah. Oh boy. Or the last one.
Well, I'd rather be the First Order than the Third Reich.
Yeah.
Then A New Hope obviously is my number three because, like I said, original trilogy is gonna top the list for me. From there, I'm gonna go Revenge of the Sith
That was
because Revenge of the Sith. I feel like Revenge of the Sith was like the only one of the prequel trilogies that obviously they knew exactly what they were doing. They had been always for years there had been talk about this epic battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin on on a lava planet, which we later learn becomes Mustafar. Then and obviously Anakin's turned to the dark side. I think they did the Greek tragedy well in that it's your classic Greek tragedy, right?
Yep.
You learn of this thing that's going to happen in the future, and in trying to change that thing, you end up causing it to happen.
Worse. You made it worse. Right.
From there, I'm going to say just because it's the nostalgia factor, it hit me with all those nostalgia bombs. It was just a movie full of member berries. I'm gonna put Rise of Skywalker.
Ooh. Okay.
Just because it gets me with
That's what, 4?
that's five. It gets me with the it's like when she reaches out to the Force and all the Jedi of the past arc, and the fact that you didn't just go and get your people from the movies, you went and you got my boy Kanan from Rebels, and you got Ahsoka from Clone Wars,
In voice.
and you got Luminara and the other two female Jedi's also whose names I'm the green one with the freckles and the blue one, the blue Twilight one.
They tied it up nice.
They got the voice actors from the Clone Wars to come back and record for that, and then the fact that here the entire galaxy shows up to fight the Emperor, and you gave me Wedge. Wedge, who's been with me ever since that Death Star trench run, who was with me on the Battle of Hoth, who was leading Gold Squadron with a fucking A-wing on Return of the Jedi, and here's old man Wedge in his cockpit. You got me with that. Then after this one, I'm gonna say Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones.
That's a solid list.
All
How
right.
about you, Louis?
All right.
What's the list?
So mine is also my first is Empire.
Oh, clearly.
It's been Empire since I got into Star Wars, and for me, I mean, I love Empire because that first of all, the Hoth battle scene is like one of my favorite space. Not space because it wasn't space, but the ship battles. Battle with the ships and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, wait. Another thing I liked about Rise of Skywalker. Sorry to
That's
interrupt.
fine.
The A-wing. They brought the A-wing back.
Yeah.
That's it. Continue.
Okay. And also they introduced Boba Fett, and he had some cool scenes in that movie, and you see all the bounty hunters, and I was obsessed with the bounty hunters as a kid, and it's just got some cool battle, some fighting scenes, and then what else? The AT-ATs, I fucking love the AT-ATs. That's a separate thing on its own, even though it's part of that battle.
Yeah, vehicles. Yeah,
Oh
we
my
we
God.
share.
Yeah, I love those vehicles. What, Evan?
When you guys were growing up, did you call them AT-ATs or did you call them AT-ATs?
AT-ATs.
AT-AT.
I always called it AT.
Okay, I don't know why. I don't know where I picked it up from. I always called them AT-ATs.
No, I always
people
called
do
it
that, and
AT-ATs
it
just because the other one was ATST, and you can't make that sound. Yeah.
Street.
So-
Street.
So where's your number
Yeah,
2?
okay, so Empire #1, Boba Fett, AT-ATs, Tauntauns, everything. It's all great stuff. Then number 2,
they smelled bad on the outside.
and then number 2 is going to be Return of the Jedi, followed by A New Hope, and I mean those are two that are like, well, no, I don't know, but they're all really close together.
Yeah.
Like, the whole trilogy is just top notch. And then the next one would be Force Awakens, because just seeing it in theaters, we thought that we weren't going to get any more Star Wars movies anymore after the prequels, and it was, Star Wars coming back finally, and you could say it was A New Hope.
Yeah.
And there was still just all this hope, and it looked like it was going to be a fun ride, and oh well. So, but still, it was fun. And then after The Force Awakens, I'm gonna go with Rise of Skywalker because of the member berries, also followed closely by Revenge of the Sith, and then after Revenge of the Sith, I'm gonna go with fucking um
Phantom.
yes, Phantom, and then Attack of the Clones and Last Jedi are like right there together. I don't give a shit about either one.
So, oh my bad.
Okay. I'm going to preface this by saying that I did not watch the trilogy as a kid because I, quote, did not like it. But honestly, it's because I didn't give it a chance. I watched them as an adult because Louis sort of made me.
Yeah, wait. I just want to tell this real quick story. We were on one of. It's not the first date, but it was one of our earlier dates when we started dating. And I remember asking her if she liked Star Wars, and she said, I don't really like it. And I said, well, what, you seen all the movies? And she goes, no, I just saw the first one. And I'm like, what do you mean by the first one? You know that the first one, episode one, the one with the little kid. I was like, okay, we gotta watch all the original trilogy.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the prequels, but I watched the original trilogy and I really liked it. The first movie was kind of hard for me to get through, but Empire is my favorite of the 6 movies that I've seen of Star Wars. And my second favorite is The Force Awakens. And I like Empire for the same reason that Evan likes it. Yoda. Yoda makes that movie.
Wait. Before you continue,
That's it.
wait.
That was it.
Hold on. Before you continue, this isn't a question that we're gonna go through everybody, but I know you have this answer in your head ready to go. So, out of all the Star Wars movies, what's your favorite scene? Yeah, I know you know. I know you know this,
Oh,
and I love this one too. I think I agree with you.
my favorite scene in all of Star Wars is the trash compactor scene with the
Explain
snake.
why.
Explain why?
Yeah,
Because they're all stuck in a place together and they're I don't know, it just is really fun to see them get out of that situation and the snake and it's just a lot of anticipation.
go ahead.
Would you say it's because they have a lot of chemistry and charm, which they were
Bingo.
they were lacking in all the other
And
movies?
it ends perfectly where C-3PO thinks they're getting crushed, but they're laughing
Yeah.
and screaming because they're happy.
Oh yeah.
That's so
it's,
good.
It's so good. Yeah. So my Return of the Jedi #1, baby. It's just the
Yeah.
coolest intro to fucking Luke Skywalker ever. The guy just goes into Jabba's palace like the ultimate badass. Gets dropped in with a fucking Rancor pit. Just
Yeah.
beats that motherfucker like it's no.
That's right. The Rancor is fucking awesome.
He just beats that shit like it's no one's fucking business. Gets out of that shit, fights his dad, and he was just like, I ain't that kid you fucked with last movie. I'm a badass now. And that movie's so fucking dope. That's my favorite. And then it's Empire, obviously, because I don't have to tell you why. Third is here's a fucking deal breaker for you guys.
What?
Revenge of the Sith. That's my #3.
Isn't it New Hope?
Hope is after that one. I like Revenge of the Sith more than Hope.
I don't know how I feel about this.
uh, and then after Hope, I know you guys are gonna hate me. Phantom Menace. I like Phantom Menace. And then after that, Force Awakens. And then after that is fucking Last Jedi. And then the shit of the shit, it's fucking Rise of Skywalker and then Clone Wars. I think we're all in agreement. Clone Wars is the worst. It's just
You like Last Jedi more than Rise
more
of
than
Skywalker?
more
That's right, you said
more
that
than
earlier.
Clone Wars. Oh, the Revenge of the Clones, whatever that shit's
No, I
called.
mean, I'm saying you like Last Jedi more than Rise of Skywalker. You like Last Jedi more than the one we just saw, Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, Last Jedi I liked more than. Wait, Last Jedi was the one that 15 minutes the one with the dogs and shit. Yeah, I like that one more than Last Jedi. But
No, more than Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker, yeah. But I fucking hate Clone Wars. Clone Wars is the worst thing ever made. Yeah.
Attack of the Clones.
Or Attack of the Clones, right?
Clone
Whatever.
Wars is a really good
See,
series.
the ones I don't care about, I don't even remember the name because it's not fucking important. But the fucking ones I do.
But
Yeah,
I
we're
think-
running late.
yeah,
we're already at
running late. It's been
140,
a
so
long
let's
one.
close it off.
Yeah, guys, please make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit the like button, and if you're not in the Facebook group, get in the Facebook group. Follow Odie at
Odalis, Odalys, Q, writer, as in writing. And guys, give these people some Instagram follows.
Yes, please. We have 200 followers on the Facebook group. We've got 90 followers on Instagram. Guys, if you have Facebook, you have Instagram.
Yeah, share this episode with some Star Wars fanatics.
Yeah.
Let them fucking hate on me for hating on this movie and liking the last piece of shit more than this piece of shit. Show it off to everybody.
And if
Make
you're
me look like a bad guy. I want to be the Sith.
and if and if you're listening to us on YouTube, again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share it on your Facebook profile. Anybody that's a Star Wars fan, let them know, hey, check out these guys. They're from Miami. They've got weird accents, and they've got a unique point of view that they don't share with a lot of other people.
Yeah, bro. We talk like this, bro. Who cares, bro?
Dale, que estamos aquí, que estamos hablando de Star Wars.
Croqueta.
All right, later, guys.